Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars, welcome to another of my top 10 lists. I thought today's top 10 list I would focus on a PlayStation top 10 list, and in particular my favourite PlayStation open world games. Now, with so many open world games on the market, past and present, it's difficult to know where to start really. Some people are getting a little bit tired of them, some people are getting a little bit jaded with them. People are starting to be a little bit more creative with them, but I personally am a big fan of open world games, and I have been for a long time. And I just want to talk about some of my favourite open world games. Now, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying these games that I'm going to discuss here are the best open world games. These are just the open world games that I have the most fun to, that I tend to return to more often than some of the others. They're fun playgrounds to mess about in. And they are just a lot of fun to be in and be playing in those open worlds. So I'm going to give you my top 10 favourite open world games. I would love to hear in the comments what your favourite open world games are. So thank you very much for watching, and I do hope you enjoy this list. Right, there's a couple of games I want to mention that while they haven't made my top 10 list, I do want to point out that I think are excellent open worlds, and if you haven't tried them, they definitely are worth your time. The first one is, of course, Cyberpunk 2077. Now, despite all the negativity surrounding this game when it was released, and yes, they did deserve an awful lot of that criticism, this is definitely a game that is worth checking out. If you're a fan of open world games, what CD Projekt Red have created is a really fantastic open world that is really fun to play in, really fun to explore. It's a really big open world, and it will certainly be very enjoyable for you and takes up an awful lot of your time. And it's one of those worlds that you can just wander about in, pick up a side quest here and there, just go driving in your car, in your bike, take up the scenery. It looks absolutely beautiful as well, and definitely worth checking out. The next one I want to mention, and I did want to put an Assassin's Creed game on this list, and the one I've chosen is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I think there's an argument for many of the Assassin's Creed games to get on this list in some shape or form. And the reason why I went with Valhalla is obviously it's the most recent, so it's the freshest in my memory. But the last three Assassin's Creed games, essentially Origins, Odyssey and Valhalla, for me, I think have taken the series in a really fantastic direction. And I really enjoyed Valhalla's open world. I enjoyed the story as well. I enjoyed every aspect of it. Some people are getting a bit jaded with the Ubisoft open worlds, but I enjoyed this Valhalla open world because it was set in the UK where I'm from, but it's absolutely stunning to explore. It's got some fun combat, and there is some really good exploration that takes place in the game as well. And I just think it's a really rich and fun open world to be a part of. Now, coming in at number 10 on the list, again, I did want to include a Watch Dogs game. Now, I'm not a massive fan of the first one. Watch Dogs 2 is, for me, the best open world in regards to a Watch Dogs game. It's based in San Francisco, and it is just such a wonderful playground to be a part of. I had so much fun in this game when it was first released. I just thought it was fantastic how it was made, how it was designed. It was a little bit more lighter than the first game. I really related to the lead character much better. It had so many different activities to do. They really got to grips with like the technology side of it, and it just looked absolutely beautiful, and it was a beautiful city to explore. And I just loved how you could just do your selfies and do all them wonderful things in it. A great open world, I think. Now, for me, this is one of the most underrated open worlds, if not games overall, I think, of the last decade, and that is Mad Max. It was such a great game. It did not get the recognition it deserved upon release, and for me it's a brilliant open world. If you're a fan of Mad Max at all, or if you're just a fan of open worlds that are created lovingly with loads to do, It's got great car driving mechanics, but it's got absolutely brilliant driving combat as well, as you would expect in a Mad Max game. But also, when you get out of the car, it rewards exploration. It's got some absolutely brutal hand-to-hand combat, and a really fantastic open world. And it does disappoint me that this one isn't talked about as more often than it should. It's just a wonderful game, and it's definitely a game you should check out. Next on the list, coming at number 8, might surprise some people, is Ghost Recon Wildlands. I had such a ball with this game. I still do. I actually uploaded this game again, or downloaded it, should I say. I haven't played it for a while, and just to get this footage to put here in this top 10 list, I got hooked and I found myself playing it for another couple of hours. It's just a brilliant playground. I love the fact that you've got these squad mates. You can play it solo, but you can play it with friends as well. The fact that you can go anywhere, like land, sea or air, on boat, helicopters, vehicles, is brilliant. Driving around, going around all the terrain. The combat, I think, is brilliant. It's actually quite tactical as well. I just think it's a great game, and again, I think this is a game that got a little bit of a bad rap because it was a Ubisoft game, essentially. Breakpoint, I agree, was not as good as this one, but definitely check it out. It had to make the list somewhere, and of course, it's Skyrim. The legendary Skyrim. Yes, it's become a bit of a laughing stock almost in regards to how often it keeps getting re-released, anniversary editions, all this kind of stuff. But it doesn't change the fact that it is still an absolutely incredible game, first and foremost, but it's just got such a beautiful, fantastic open world, and one of the best soundtracks that goes along with it at the same time. You can just spend hours just wandering this world, exploring, seeing what you find, listening to the beautiful music, and just getting into all sorts of adventures and escapades. It's a beautifully crafted open world, and a reminder of what Bethesda can do when they really put their mind to it. Let's hope they can get back to this kind of level of gameplay and open worlds, because it's just a remarkable open world, this one. Beautifully done. Another game that I think is criminally underrated is Sleeping Dogs, and that's why it's at number 6 on my list. It's a game I have visited on the channel and done a classic review for. What a game. I mean, this was initially a PlayStation 3 release, and then it got like a remaster on the PlayStation 4. And I replayed it again. I think I've completed it 3 times now. It's a fantastic game. It's got a really strong story as well about this undercover cop in the mob underground. It's got incredible hand-to-hand martial arts, some of the best you will ever play in a game like this. The driving is fun. There's loads of activities to do in there. The voice acting is absolutely stellar. But above all else, it's an open world that you won't get bored in. Everything has a purpose. Everything you do, buying clothes, eating, drinking, all matters, and it's just a great game. Ghost of Tsushima. What a game this is. This was a staggering game when it came out a couple of years ago, and it's even better now. It's got its PlayStation 5 upgrade. It was stunning then. It's even more stunning now to play. The open world is just beautifully realised. It rewards exploration. There's plenty to do. Just wandering around in awe at how beautiful the world is sometimes will pass a couple of hours. But for me, it's got some of the best combat I've ever played in a game. Great progression, just getting on your horse, wandering about. I can't compliment it enough, really, this game. It's just a beautiful game to play, and one that you can get lost in this world. It's just stunningly realised. It doesn't insult your intelligence. You have to kind of work to get everything you want from the game, but it's done in an effortless way. I think it's just a work of genius, this game. Next on the list, coming in at number 4, is SpiderMan, Marvel's SpiderMan, the PlayStation exclusive. Miles Morales was brilliant as well. We've got a new Spider-Man coming, I think, is it next year? But this one, to me, was just a dream for Marvel fans and Spider-Man fans. It was a Spider-Man game we wanted. We hadn't had a great Spider-Man game for such a long time. This one delivered in every area. The swinging was so good, so satisfying. The combat was expertly done and really fun to do. Great story, great gallery of villains to get through. Loads to do in the open world. Some of it you could argue was a bit repetitive, but it was still fun to do, collecting the backpacks and all that kind of stuff as well. Beautiful game, beautiful open world, and a really good blueprint of how to really make a fun superhero game first, before an open world. It had, again, this is one of those that you surely would expect to see on a list like this. It's GTA 5. Again, it's a bit like Skyrim. How many times has this been released? It's been going almost a decade now, this game, way back on PlayStation 3. Then it got its PlayStation 4 upgrade, and it's had a PlayStation 5 upgrade as well. It's a juggernaut, this game. But as I said in my recent PlayStation 5 review of GTA 5, it's endlessly enjoyable, this world, a bit like Sleeping Dogs and other really well-crafted open worlds. Everything matters, you know. When you earn any real money in the game, the story mode, you want to go and spend it and buy some clothes or get a new car, buy a business. And this is not even me going on about the online section of the game, you know, which again is another part of the game. They're both brilliantly realised, mountains of stuff to do, and an incredibly crafted open world, one of the best, I think, of all time. Coming in at number 2 is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. This almost made my number 1. As you know, many of you, if you watch my content and watch my channel, you know this is my favourite game of all time, and I was stupidly excited recently when they announced a new Witcher game. I can't wait for that, but I also can't wait for the PlayStation 5 upgrade for this game, because I know I'm going to download it again and just get lost in this game once more. I've lost count of how many times I've started and finished this game, or just started the game. Beautifully realised open world that is just absolutely stunning to be in. It takes your breath away. It's that beautiful at times, this game, and that's not taken into consideration. Probably the best storytelling in a game I've ever seen. And great combat and great voice acting and characters too. It's a masterpiece. But for me, I have to put Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 1, it's just a stunning game. It's a stone cold 10 out of 10, as many of these games on this list are, certainly. The open world, I mean, it's just a fantasy for those of you, or those of us that have always wanted to be a cowboy. I mean, they just completely and utterly nailed it here. It's a game I continuously return to, even if it's just to put it on for a couple of hours and just remind myself what a great game it is, and just wander about and do a couple of quests. Stunning to look at. The combat is fantastic. Again, incredible voice acting. Brilliant story, very emotional. But if you just take all that away, it's just an incredible playground to play in and just be that cowboy and cause chaos. Do whatever you want. An incredible game, and that's why it's made my number 1.